Welcome to Life, Love, and Light. I'm Veronica Mary Rolfe, and in this third season of podcasts, we're exploring the mystical path. We're considering what's involved in following such a path, not only through the practice of contemplative prayer, but in every aspect of our daily lives. Each week, I will be guiding you in forms of meditation that great mystics of the past, both East and West, have promised can inform and radically transform our lives. I hope these meditations will enrich your own daily practice. Last week, we discussed the essential role of faith on the mystical path and looked into the meaning of the words contemplation and meditation. We clarified the difference between cataphatic and apophatic forms of mystical prayer. And we considered the ultimate end of the mystical path, which is union with God. We also focused on the importance of maintaining a constant intention of the mind in order to reach that end. We reflected on teachings from the Desert Fathers, as well as Saint Benedict of Nursia and Saint Bernard of Clairvaux, about the importance of developing purity of heart, which is in essence perfect charity. Today, I want to consider the three essentials for developing a meditation practice. Even though forms of meditation may differ, there is a trinity of aspects that applies to them all: silence, stillness, and surrender. First, silence. Silence is a rare commodity in our world. We are flooded by technology. Smartphones, computers, social media, television, films, magazines, plus the constant fascination and stress of breaking news reports, political intrigue, scandal, and sheer gossip. We live in a never-ending barrage of information and entertainment. Too much information, too much entertainment. So when we sit down to meditate, we're already wired to be distracted by mental noise. It's quite a humbling experience to really start observing your own mind in action. It's so noisy in there. Can we ever find true silence? Psalm 62 tells us, quote, "For alone my soul waits in silence. From him comes my salvation. For God alone my soul waits in silence, for my help is from him." And John of the Cross counseled, quote, "What we need most in order to make progress is to be silent before this great God with our appetites and tongue, for the language he best hears is silent love." We simply cannot meditate with noise going on all around us and the noise of our own thoughts clamoring for attention inside of us. During our time of meditation, we need to turn off mobile phones, television, even music, whatever can distract our attention from discovering and entering into the silence within. And we need to create a sacred space, however small and simple, where we may shut the door and be in silence on a daily basis. We need to stop chattering to God when we meditate, making long lists of people for whom we want to pray. God knows our intentions much better than we do. We don't meditate to solve problems at home, at school, at work, or with friends. When we meditate, we place everything in the Lord's care and simply allow God to love us. We also don't want to engage in fantasies, daydreams, or recycle our worries during meditation, or rehash old grievances. In our time of meditation, we try to cultivate silence of the heart as well as silence of speech and mind. We seek to calm the pain, the hurt, the struggle that may be weighing on our soul. We seek to replace fear and worry with simple trust and love longing for God. We cultivate the practice of sacred silence. Second, stillness. All meditative traditions teach that in order to reach deep inner stillness of the mind, we must cultivate stillness of the body. This means more than just not moving or fidgeting during our time of meditation. This requires a deep relaxation of both mind and body. The mind never meditates alone without the help of the body. We are one body-mind entity, interdependent. So we need to integrate the working of body and mind and allow the mind to relax its control over areas of the body where we store up hidden tension. This will enable the body to heal itself, to undo the emotional knots that it has carried from childhood, and relax into a more natural equilibrium of mind, body, and spirit. So the first thing we need to do every day in meditation is to regain our inner balance, and this will lead us into deeper stillness. When you meditate in your quiet space, sit down on a chair or a floor cushion with your back as straight as possible. If you need a cushion in your lower back for support, that's fine. Close your eyes, place your hands gently in your lap, and try to remain perfectly still for the length of your meditation. Movement causes distraction. Take a few minutes to relax whatever tension you feel in your body from the inside without fidgeting or adjusting. Let go of any tightness in your forehead, eyebrows, mouth, neck, shoulders, chest, arms, hands, torso, legs, and so on. But remain alert, vigilant, and aware. Then follow the whisper of the breath, in and out, like gentle waves lapping on a shore. Try not to do anything, even pray. Your primary effort should be to remain still and allow the mind to become aware of who it is who enables every breath you breathe. You are breathing God's love for you, in and out, in and out. Allow the risen Christ to breathe on you the way he breathed on his disciples when they received the Holy Spirit. And then, from the beginning to the end of your meditation, remain still. Movement of any kind distracts the body from dropping into deeper silence and stillness. Third, surrender. Silence and stillness of mind and body are essential to the mystical path, but we will not be able to relax and be still if we are grasping to something, anything. We must become so poor in spirit that we have nothing at all to hold on to prove who we are, to justify our lives, to shore up our ego, to make excuses. Nothing at all that we can point to, either that we have done or what we have failed to do. We meditate to let go of all attachments. Eventually, we must become as poor and stripped as we will be at the moment of death. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is already the kingdom of God. But we simply cannot relax fully if we don't surrender. And we cannot fully surrender unless we understand the nature of our ultimate refuge. To whom are we surrendering? As I said last week, that is why faith is such an essential component of the mystical life. Faith guides us towards the one we seek, binds us to the one for whom we long, deepens our realization of the one without whom we cannot live or move or have our being. We surrender all that we have and all that we love and all that we are to the one in whom we believe, the one we love in every breath. But how do we surrender? As thoughts and emotions arise in the space of the mind, we become utterly impartial towards them. We let them go. It doesn't matter if they are positive or negative or neutral. We release thoughts and emotions without interfering with them. This is true surrender of the ego, the self that wants to be in control of our own thoughts and our emotions. This is true surrender of the very self that thinks it is an independent entity, a me that functions all on its own, separate from its creator. And in order to surrender more and more, we focus on keeping our awareness clear and sharp, rather than muddled and dull, silent and still, rather than noisy and agitated. So the primary focus of meditation is becoming aware of what is going on in our mind and heart, and not letting anything slip by us. Yet at the same time, not grasping at or trying to change anything that arises. This practice is a slow one. It takes time, dedication, and daily commitment to practice. Every morning and every evening for 20 minutes to half an hour or more, to reach such a state of mental and emotional surrender. But eventually, through the practice of surrender, we learn to be at ease and at home in the silence and the stillness. We long for more time to meditate, more silence, more stillness, more surrender. This is the foundation of the mystical path. Indeed, the contemplative life is really about learning to be still in the midst of a mind that is in constant motion. It's a long-term commitment to watching the mind without allowing oneself to identify with the passing thoughts as me, or my thoughts, or my feelings. It's a process of becoming aware of divine awareness, that is the very ground of our being. The divine awareness that enables us to be aware at every moment. Sounds appealing, doesn't it? Then why is it that every time we sit down to meditate with all the best intentions of maintaining silence and stillness and purity of heart and a desire for self-surrender, why is it so hard to stay focused, to be aware and watchful without getting distracted, to maintain that naked intent of the soul's love-longing for God? Why can't the mind simply be still and rest in the silence of God? If the soul is naturally drawn to the mystical path, why doesn't meditation come to us more easily? Well, because we humans are of two minds: the active, functioning, immensely gifted, organized, inventive, and capable mind of Martha, and the reserved, quiet, and more contemplative mind of Mary in Luke's gospel story. We must find a way to make peace between these two minds, the Martha mind and the Mary mind, and to access the gifts and the graces of each. As we discussed at length in a previous podcast, Martha and Mary were the two sisters of Lazarus, at whose home in Bethany Jesus went to get away from the crowds, to rest, to share, to be with friends who loved him, to be still, to be silent. We noticed that it was Martha, the active sister, who had actually invited Jesus into her home in the first place. It was Martha's hospitality that made the whole evening of the Lord's presence and teaching possible. It was Martha who made Jesus and his disciples comfortable, reclining on pillows on the floor. And when it grew dark, it was Martha who invited them all to stay for dinner. And then it was Martha who went to work in the kitchen. Meanwhile, instead of helping her sister, Mary listened to Jesus, hanging on his every word. Eventually, as the story goes, Martha became annoyed that Mary was shirking her duties, doing absolutely nothing to help her prepare the different dishes that went into a hearty Jewish meal. Finally, Martha couldn't take it anymore. She stormed into the room and berated her sister in front of everyone. "Lord, don't you care that my sister has left me to do the work by myself? Tell her to help me." Well, we mustn't be too hard on Martha. After all, she is so much like us. She was overworked and underappreciated and desperate to get the dinner done. But we mustn't be too hard on Mary either. Even though Mary was completely absorbed in the Lord's presence and in his teaching, she wasn't being idle. She wasn't doing nothing. She was being silent and still. She was totally aware, and she was surrendering her whole self with the sole intention of listening to the Lord. In fact, she was deeply active, but in a contemplative way. Mary was hanging on Jesus' every word, not daring to move, lest she disturb his sublime teaching or his silence. Jesus didn't do what Martha asked. He didn't tell Mary to get up and go help her sister make dinner. Jesus thought differently. "Martha, Martha," the Lord answered, "you are worried and upset about many things, but only one thing is needed. Mary has chosen what is better, and it will not be taken away from her." The priceless teaching Luke gave all of us in this seemingly minor incident in the Gospels is that we are neither Martha nor Mary. We are both. We can identify with both women. All of us are of two minds, the active Martha mind and the contemplative Mary mind coexist within every one of us. All of us, women and men alike, are called to do our work in the kitchens and classrooms, the hospitals and offices of our lives, in the homes and in the workplaces, in whatever professions we practice and services we give. But what we so often overlook is that Jesus also gives us the privilege of savoring the better part, which is also reserved for each one of us. He wants us all to be his disciples on the mystical path. So, as I said, to do this, we must learn how to make peace between our two minds. From time to time, Christ calls us to leave our workplaces and the demands and responsibilities of our daily lives and simply spend time sitting at his feet, just focused on him alone, listening to him, asking questions in the silence of our heart, and waiting patiently for his teachings that have no sound. He invites us to enter into his own silence, to be with him in repose. He longs for us to realize a state of deep stillness and awareness, which is the only state of mind in which he can truly reveal himself to us. That then is the heart and soul of the mystical path, spending time with the person of Jesus Christ, developing a deep and abiding relationship with the Lord. Come to me, Jesus said, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. We're all weary and burdened in some way, whether physically, mentally, emotionally, or spiritually. We all seek the true rest and peace that no one can take from us. But how do we find it? We find the rest and true intimacy with the Lord and make peace between our two minds whenever we take time out to be faithful to our daily practice of contemplative prayer. By being still, learning to be silent, breathing in and out with the breath of the Holy Spirit within, and surrendering our individual will to allow Christ to do all the work of transformation within our souls. Enticing, isn't it? But meditating is not only the better part, it is also the harder part. We know how to be busy, to multitask. We know how to be wives and husbands and grandparents and siblings and friends and working professionals. We know how to push ourselves to the breaking point, month after month, year after year, because the demands are so great and the number of hours in a day so few. What we find hard, really hard, is not doing. Letting go of everything, even our worries, for a little while each day. Giving up the reins of control of our own lives and of the lives for which we feel responsible. Perhaps what we find hardest of all is the surrendering and letting God take hold and take care of our entire lives without any preconditions. trusting God to do what is best for us and for those we love. And it is precisely that total and radical surrendering that allows the light to break into our darkness, to comfort and ease our fears. It is this daily dropping into the mystical dimension that leads to true intimacy with Christ. And that love relationship is the only one that can truly satisfy all our heart's desires and give us peace. As we discussed last week, we must pay constant attention to our naked intention, to be watchful, remain open, and ever more receptive to Christ's work in us and through us in meditation. This is the key to inner silence and stillness. And in actual practice, meditative stillness means going behind and beyond both the Martha and the Mary mind. It means questioning, who is it who is watching these thoughts? And this we will do now in our guided meditation. This meditation on becoming aware of being aware was given to me by my daughter, Eva Natanya, who is a Christian theologian, a scholar, and a full-time contemplative. So let us begin. Take a comfortable position. Feel a wave of relaxation flow through your entire body, pouring down over your head, your face, your neck, down through your arms, into your fingers, flowing down your chest and back, your torso, through your legs and out your toes. Now let the breath all the way out to the end. Not forcing, not pulling, just releasing all control. Notice the mind that is able to know when a breath is exhaling and when it's inhaling, when it's long and when it's short. As you continue to be aware of those things, start to notice this act of being aware. The simplicity of it. It's behind everything we do and experience. But how often do we notice the miracle of simply being aware? Then allow yourself to trust that the act of being aware is indivisible. The infinite act shines through down to the finest moment, the subtlest moment of our own experience of being aware. It's a straight line, no breaks in it. So likewise, from our experience of being aware, There are no absolute boundaries from our personal awareness all the way to the depths of the heart of divine knowledge. It's one unbroken continuum. Rest your mind then in your heart, seeking shelter, seeking absolute protection in this truth of awareness. This all-pervading wisdom within that you cannot escape even if you wanted to. Ask Christ to show you all who are in pain to the degree that you can bear. And let the light of your heart, his heart, illuminate all who are waiting to see him, who do not even know what they are made of. And surrender yourself in trust that he is making of you a light that will actually reach them all, that will actually experience infinite love. And when you do so, you will be the light of each one's own awareness, without separation. You will experience yourself as the divine light guiding them. No separation. This is the vision of the resurrected, the beatified. Trust it. But to dwell there demands everything. There can't be any surface layer vestiges of you if you are to plummet into the infinite depths of God. So let him lead you very slowly by the hand. Ask him to instruct you breath by breath, becoming the voice inside your own mind, showing you what is next. Let him guide you first to the most commonplace experience of being aware, of being in a body. And without losing the stillness of this awareness, allow the overflow of this light to fill, to illuminate the whole space of your body. And simply experience the flow of breath there. The fluctuating sensations. For a short time, pouring your mind into nothing but that experience of breathing through your whole body. Do not control the breath, but be vividly aware of it all the way to the end, all the way to the inhalation, all the way out again, taking in finer and finer detail. Release the conceptual mind by immersing yourself in the non-conceptual experience of sensation. These sensations don't talk. They just are, totally in the present moment. Keep the stillness of awareness amidst the motion of sensations arising with the breath throughout your body. And notice that the awareness fills the entire space of the body, but it doesn't move. It can't move. It's like standing still at the side of a road watching cars and people go by. But this awareness of the layer of sensation doesn't stop the thoughts from flowing. In fact, it's necessary to become more and more aware of that flow of thoughts so as to release them more quickly and not be captured by any one of them. So now, as it were, zoom out for a moment. Begin to take in 2 layers at once. The layer of sensation and the layer of thoughts and images, without disturbing either one. Just watch. Without forcibly stopping thoughts, but without following them either. Just letting the mind be. You're not in that mind. You're watching it. And now, distinct from the flow of thoughts, images, memories, anticipations, notice the reactions of your own mind to these thoughts and images. The excitement, the fear, the joy, the sorrow. That's a different layer. A layer to which we hold even more closely as being me. My joy is mine. My sorrow is mine. Now make sure your awareness is placed even further back than that identification with your ego mind, so that you can watch the play of images and thoughts arising and the mind that is reacting to them. But again, you're still not in that mind. You're watching it. And then bit by bit, allow yourself to lose interest in your own mind. The sensations of breath are still there, simply as a rhythm, but don't engage in them now. Fall back further, resting in the very illumination that is aware. Rest in the very mystery of this light within, without making anything of it. Just let it be aware. And if it's difficult to sustain, you can return to the oscillation of the breath a little more actively, releasing thoughts on the exhalation and clarifying awareness on the inhalation. Do this at your own rhythm, letting the clarity become brighter and brighter. And then relax, releasing any tension and any grip to thoughts or images that may have crept up along the way. And then as awareness becomes sharper and sharper, begin to notice how the perception of being in a body, of the physical matter of the room around you, how these are also arising as thoughts. To your awareness, are they anything else but that? Appearances? And now, can you let the appearance of your body and your surroundings be as light and ephemeral as the image of thoughts and memories? And as you release awareness, begin to release it straight through those perceptions, as though they were no more solid than a dream. And without tightening in any way, allow the light of awareness to become so bright it seems it could shine straight through physical matter, or the appearance of physical matter, to your mind. Let your mind expand into this infinite spaciousness of awareness. Let your awareness become equal to space itself. And release all effort, all hint of grasping, of wanting the meditation to be one way or another. Surrender completely to this divine light that is inseparable from your awareness. The very light by which you are aware. Simply release all thought of it being otherwise and sustain the awareness, vivid, bright, clear. Thoughts are released instantly, swallowed up in this light like flashes of lightning. And trust that what the thoughts refer to are already taken care of in this divine awareness. So you have no need to hold on to them as thoughts. At a certain point, you will find an equilibrium where the clarity is not lost in the spaciousness, and the spaciousness is not lost in the brightness of clarity. Continue to rest there. And then very gradually, when you wish, allow your eyes to open without losing the flow of this awareness. Nothing needs to change. What you see or hear are simply appearances to your mind, just like what you saw inside. And the light of awareness still passes through it all, equal to space. Relax even more deeply, holding nothing back. There is nothing more to do. There is yet a deeper stillness, one that has never moved, that will still be there, even when every perception of you disappears. See yourself painted by that light, even now, out of nothing. let that light flood the experience of a body once again. Let it flow from your heart. See it flow from your heart to all who need you, knowing this is already accomplished. Amen. I hope you will share these Life, Love, and Light podcasts with family members and friends who wish to develop a meditation practice in their daily lives, especially during this Lenten time of silence, stillness, and surrender. And if you would like information about my books on the mystical life, Suddenly There is God and Living Resurrected Lives, which was co-authored by my daughter Eva Natanya, or about my 2 books on the mystical revelations of Julian of Norwich, please visit my website, veronicamaryrolf.com. These books are available in paperback and as ebooks from the publisher and also from Amazon, of course, worldwide. And if you have any questions or comments about these podcasts, please contact me on my website. I would so enjoy hearing from you. Next week, we will discuss the thorny problem of how to deal with distractions during meditation. We will consider the solutions of the Desert Fathers, of the Cloud of Unknowing, and of St. Teresa of Avila. We will also focus on the practice of simply becoming aware. That is the direct link to the divine awareness within all of us. This is an essential topic for all those who wish to follow the mystical path. I hope you will continue to join us each week on the mystical path throughout this Lenten season. So until next week, I wish you all the blessings of divine life, love,